O'Neill Outside Radio is brought to you by these fine sponsors. CVA muzzleloaders, it's just a better gun. Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. WORX Power and Garden Tools. Toyota, let's go places. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Swaggerty Sausage, the finest premium pork sausage products. Tough Shed, great storage sheds and custom buildings.
Timbuktu Outdoors, the ideal solution to live bait.
Arctic Ice, the most durable, versatile, and effective cooler packs for the outdoorsman. Terminator, the best food plot implements on Earth. And the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, state parks, and historic sites.
From Black Powder headquarters in the Bojangles studio from Three Falls Cabin in the North Georgia Mountains, O'Neill Outside presents CVA Radio. For anything in the outdoors, this is your source. Listen in and call the show with your comments or questions. And now, here's O'Neill.
Good morning, boys and girls, from Black Powder headquarters and the Bojangles studio, which you've already heard. This is O'Neill with CVA Radio. 2 hours of outdoors headed your way. No politics. I've had enough, haven't you? But we have a lot of things to do this morning, including all of your calls, the True Turn Tackle Tip, the Medal of Honor tribute. We have the YouTube contest. Oh, we've got a lot of things to do, and we hope you'll join us. Fishing is outstanding. Hunting season is on the way. Bushy tails are in season, so let's you and I talk about the outdoors for the next couple of hours. It's my pleasure to tell you that this program is brought to you by, it's CVA Radio, so I guess it's brought to you by CVA Muzzleloaders. And Arctic Ice, Tough Shed, Furminator, Timbuktu Outdoors, the WORX Tools, Stripling's General Store, Snellville Heating and Air, Rocco's, Ritter Critter, and a new sponsor started last week is Mark Hurd Fuel. They keep us warm, and they keep the generator running, and good company. Okay, 7 after the hour. Why don't you plan to join us this morning? We need some calls from people in Texas and Nebraska and New York City. You can listen to O'Neill on, or listen to CVA Radio. You don't have to listen to me. On the Sports Map Radio Network, nationwide, and of course, which you are now, likely, WSB 95.5 FM on the dial and 750 AM, reaching all over the country. We've been doing this, it's exhausting, isn't it? Almost 30 years. And we're here because you take the time to call 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255. One more time. In the Atlanta area, 404-872-0750 or outside the Atlanta calling area, 800-972-8255. We'd love to hear from you. Fishing, hunting, outdoors, camping, books to read, things to talk about. We'll be back. Welcome back. 12 after the hour. Before we get to the first calls, I want to remind you, please, to be involved in the following. We have a YouTube contest, if you will. If you'll visit YouTube, O'Neill Outside, subscribe. It costs you nothing. I'm not going to be sending you emails. Just subscribe and then like some of the videos. Okay? We're going to give away in October 2 pair of Thorogood boots, 5 Arctic Ice freezer packs, 10 True Turn tackle packs, 10 Daiichi tackle packs, 5 selections of Roadrunner lures, 3 Swaggerty's gift baskets with coffee mugs, T-shirts, Bluetooth speakers, hats, Swaggerty coupons to use at the store, keychains, USB chargers. We're going to give away a Fire Aid fire extinguisher, $50 Bojangles gift cards, a Furminator hanging judge, 2 of those, digital deer scales, 2 Realtree camo jacket and hat combos, 1 Conus optic 10x42 binoculars, 10 Plano tackle boxes, a CVA 50 caliber muzzleloader, and packs of Powerbolt bullets. Timbuktu Outdoors, cloaks, pay dirt, and Fisher's Choice. WORX Tools, 40-volt leaf blower, Georgia State Parks gift passes, Big Green Egg charcoal igniter, a membership at QDMA, and God knows what else. YouTube, O'Neill Outside, subscribe, and like. Doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't put you on anyone's mailing list. Okay, there you are. 14 after the hour. Right now, let's chat with John is calling from Lilburn, Georgia. Good morning, John. What's going on?
Good morning, Neil. How you doing?
Lovely.
That's great. Listen, I won that prize pack last week, and I want to say
thank you
so much. I really enjoyed all the things I got in there, and it was really exciting to get it. It was like Christmas in September. So I really enjoyed that.
Well, good.
One question for you though, and I never look a gift horse in the mouth. One of the things was going to be, and I wanted to ask you about it, the fishing oil, the Fisherman's Choice. I thought it would contain one of those, and it didn't, but that's okay.
Oh, we didn't send you a Fisher's Choice can of baits?
No, sir.
Well,
and that's okay.
We must be out.
It could be. It's okay. But I had a question about it. I had bought something similar. I think it was some pellets. It wasn't Fisherman's Choice, but it was something I thought like it. And there were these little pellets, but I could not get them on the hook. Now, how does the Fisherman's Choice work and stay on the hook?
Well, the Fisher's Choice product.
Sorry.
Well, the Fisher's Choice products are all crickets, mealworms, shrimp, things of that nature. They are real. They were real live animals, insects, but they are preserved and will last for years. And they're injected with attractants, but these aren't pellets. No, I don't know where you might have gotten those. Those pellets are probably just for feeding fish, but I don't know.
It was in a little jar, like I assumed that Fisher's Choice would be. About like the size of a spice, jar. But it was yellow, and I would take it out, and it would just be all over my fingers and everything. And it smelled nasty, but that's okay. You want it to. But I try to get it on a hook, and it just wouldn't go on.
Oh, I don't know.
And packing it around, all that kind of stuff. Just didn't do. But it was. I'll look for the Fisher's Choice.
Please do. They're at Bass. Fisher's Choice product is at Bass Pro Shop and Walmart, I believe.
Oh, okay, good. I'll try there then.
Yeah, very inexpensive.
Once again, thank you so much. The prize package was wonderful. It was fun to win. And I thank you again.
Good deal.
And that's my thoughts for today. Thank you so much.
You bet. Have a great weekend, pal. There we go.
All right, you too, buddy.
You bet. All right, now, hey, let's talk to the Roadster. He's calling in. Good morning, Roadster. It's O'Neill, and you're on the air. Welcome to this program.
Good morning, Big Shorty.
Hey, what do you say?
I got this package in the mail, and it had this fish bait in it. I think it came from you, I think.
Oh, was that all it was just some bait?
I think it's supposed to. I think it came from that guy that just called that won the package. You sent it to me by accident.
Well, there you are. You've got a can of bait.
I got it. I got this yellow stuff all over my fingers and all, and I didn't figure out how to put it on the hook. I just would let you know that I called to let you know that I appreciate that free fish bait I got.
Okay, I got you. You're the greatest.
And by the way, the reason I really wanted to call was because over the last couple of weeks, we've got some real nice calls about, I hate to say this, alligator gars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's
I would still like to hook up Hank the Yank with tarpon fly gear on a 100-pound Tennessee River alligator gar.
Oh, man. I've never caught one of those. I've caught the long-nosed gar and the spotted gar, but I've never had an alligator gar.
I think it's the same old thing, O'Neill.
Okay.
The thing about it is that, see, they're a common fish.
Yes.
And the thing about it is they get over 100 pounds.
Yes.
So, Hank Yank introduced us to fly fishing for freshwater bonefish, which we can't say the word carp.
Yes.
We don't say that. We have to visit. But I think it would be a great deal to go over to the Tennessee River between Huntsville, Alabama, and Athens, Alabama, and Lake Wheeler, and hook up Hank the Yank on tarpon gear for a nice 100-pound alligator gar.
Well,
on fly.
I would tell you that would be quite a thrill. It would probably, I'm just guessing here, the thing to use instead of a fly with a fly rod would be a piece of string to get tangled in their teeth. Right. You don't catch them with a hook.
Well, but a tarpon is a hard
Oh yes. But he doesn't have all those.
A tarpon is a hard. Yeah, it's a hard set.
Yes, his mouth is all bony.
Anyone could do it would be. Yeah.
It would be him.
If anyone could do it, would be Hank Yank.
A piece. Have you caught them before by using a piece of string?
No, but I've been between Huntsville and Decatur, Alabama. I've had them swim up beside my boat, over 6 feet long.
Oh yeah, if you'll it
ain't no big deal.
Put on a weight, take the hook off of a jig, and use a piece of 1/4-inch nylon cord, and unravel it. And when he bites that, he gets it caught in his teeth. And that's how you catch him. You can't get a hook into him very well, but you have to be sure and do this. Then I got to go. When you get him to the boat, you're going to have to get that string out of his mouth or he's going to starve to death. Interesting, isn't it? I got to go, pal. Have a great weekend, Roadster. No. We'll see you soon, my good friend. This is O'Neill, David from Texas. You hold on, and we'll be back. 25 after the hour. Have a lot of calls. Want to get to every one of them. But you know what I would like to hear from you today, among so many other things, is who was it that when you were a child, a little kid, maybe even an early teenager, who took you fishing? Father, grandfather, father of a friend, who took you fishing? In my case, it was my grandfather's mostly, but I'd like to know who. Okay, let's get to our calls. David is calling from somewhere in Texas. Good morning, David. You're on O'Neill Outside. Welcome to the program.
Morning, sir.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
You're on.
Okay, I was going to ask you, Mr. O'Neill, have you ever heard of burping a yellow cat?
Have I ever heard of yellow cats?
Yeah, but you know how to burp one? And I don't mean pat him on the back. I mean to get the mud out of the mouth. Are you laughing yet?
I have not. Tell me about it, please.
Okay, I know you're the expert, but I'm just a little grocery guy. What you do when you catch a yellow cat, like on a trout line, you take it and put it in a big tub with the water from the river or lake, and you put a wire over it so he don't jump out, and you let him burp the mud out of his mouth.
How about that? I never heard of such a thing. That's a good idea.
Okay, and I got one more. I know you got to go, but you're talking about the critter ritters?
Yeah.
We got ringtails in our attic where I live with my girlfriend, and I got my radio up there that I pay like $200, I got it on John Tesh music.
Uh-huh.
I hope you know who John Tesh is.
I do.
It's kind of boring because when I wake up on a Saturday morning, I got to go out to my car to listen to you because my radio's in the attic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's how popular you are.
That's a great story. That's good.
Okay, I love talking to you. I know you got other customers. Y'all have a good day, okay?
You bet. You have a great weekend. Thank you for calling, David. Thank you.
All right, and one more thing, sir.
Sure.
My dad took me fishing a lot. My dad took us fishing, river fishing until we found girlfriend.
Yeah.
So that's the way it ended, but that's the way it goes,
Well, someone has
But
to
take care.
teach you. And
Oh, yeah.
And there you go. It was your dad, huh? In my case.
Oh, yeah, he was Army veteran, and
okay.
I still to this day learn how to tie knots. He showed us how to tie certain knots to make the hook stay on tighter and not bust, and it's little tricks, and so I appreciate it when he was with us,
Well, that's good. That's a good story, I know you're proud of him and those days that you spent with him fishing.
Correct. And I want y'all to have a good day. I'm going to go.
You bet. See you later, pal. There we go. That's a nice call from David. That's unusual, how you get the mud out of a catfish's mouth. I'd never have heard of such a thing. But I will tell you, I think you'll find this interesting. Two things. First of all, someone called the show a few moments ago to the screener and asked, where can you see the O'Neill Outside previous television shows? Two places. Number one, you can go to YouTube. And virtually all the shows, like there's 700 shows, I believe, on there. And you can watch the shows at YouTube. They're without the commercials. Or you can visit o'neilloutside.com. Right up at the top of the lineup, it says television shows. If you click on that, then you can see the television shows from the last 5 or 6 or 7 years, again, without commercials. And something, that's the thing about the outdoors. It it rarely changes. A bass fishing show here or there is a bass fishing show. Usually, of course, in my case, I have to have an expert with me to help catch the fish. So I'm not an expert, but I try to pass along lessons. I was a successful tournament fisherman, but just locally. I wasn't a Bassmaster candidate at all. Those guys are different, okay? They've got it figured out, and they understand it more than we do, really. So there you are. Okay, let's see. I had something I wanted to do. I'd like to tell you a story about fishing when you're a kid. It was when I was 13, 14 years old. I had a good friend, and he still is. His name was Jeff Hobbins. His name is Jeffrey Merrick Hobbins, and he went by the name of Rick. And he was an outstanding sportsman. And instead of working at the local grocery store, we fished catfish ponds on the weekends. My mother would take us there in the morning early, and his mother would pick us up in the afternoon. And we figured it out, these catfish ponds, and we would buy cans of whole kernel corn. And when we first got to a place that we wanted to fish, usually it's the same spot, we got there early, and we would throw out handfuls of this corn out into the water, scatter it out in front of us, and it wasn't long with the smell of that, and catfish and carp both being bottom feeders, and the scent of that corn, it wasn't long before we had schools of fish in front of us, and we used corn and dough balls for bait. And we would catch fish and a lot. And I would walk around the pond, and it was always heavily, I had a lot of customers there fishing. $1 a day, you pay $1 a day to go fishing. And I would walk around the pond and interest people, if they didn't catch any, that they could come and buy them from us, because we were going to catch them. And some of the people I approached were very nice. No, son, thank you very much. We'll catch our own, and I don't blame them for that. Some people would say, get out of here, you little punk. I'll catch my own. Now, leave me alone. But late that in the Saturday afternoon, late that day, in the afternoon, people would be standing behind us, other fishermen who were not quite so lucky, and they would actually order the next fish. The next one you catch, I'll take it. And that's how we made our spending money as 13 and 14-year-old kids. Now, it's ironic, really, considering what I do for a living most of my life, and he worked for Browning. In other words, he worked in the fishing tackle and hunting industry. So, it could be said, all these years, we are still selling our catch. Interesting story, isn't it? 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255. This is O'Neill. It's 33 after the hour. And let's chat. He's been holding on the longest. Matthew is calling about the TV show. Good morning, Matthew.
Hey, good morning, O'Neill. How you doing, sir?
Lovely, thank you.
Yes, sir. I've been watching you probably about 35 years, maybe.
There you are. We've been on a long time.
I wanted to find out how to sync the shows when I was a kid. I believe you came on Channel 69 back then.
That's where I started, yes.
Is there any way to see those shows, or are they on YouTube?
No, because those shows, they were produced and stored on very, very dated tapes. So those shows are on cumbersome tape, what was called a 3/4-inch tape. So I have them somewhere on VHS tapes. But I don't know if I'll ever. One of these days, I'm going to send it all off and have it put on thumb drives. But disappointingly, my response to you is you can't see those now.
Real quick, I was going to tell you, my dad used to take me fishing. He's passed away now. And I met you up at Lake Lanier when I was a young boy. And I said, Mr. O'Neill, what was they biting today?
Oh.
And you tossed me over a Zoom limeade worm.
Oh, yes, Zoom. Good baits.
And I remember that. It was a limeade worm. That's what you told me they were biting. And you tossed me one over.
How about that?
I appreciate it. You made a young boy's day that day. So
well, you're very, very kind, and I appreciate you. A great question. Thank you for telephoning the program, and have a good weekend. I hope you do.
You too. Thank you, sir.
You bet. See you soon there.
Bye-bye.
There you are. That's a good call. Yeah, shows from 36, 37, 38 years ago. It's funny that the camera that we had to purchase to shoot the shows back then, that camera was $35,000. Now, you can get a workable production-grade television camera to shoot your own shows for anywhere between $2,000 and $4,000. Back then, the editing gear that was necessary to edit the shows in preparation for putting them on the air, I'm going to guess here and say the editing gear probably cost over $100,000. Now, you can edit your own television shows on your computer, probably for $500 worth of software. Isn't that great? You can have your own television show. That's why you have so many now versus when you used to have so few. So we've got a lot of callers. We're going to get to every single one of them on O'Neill Outside on August the 5th, 2020. Is that right? And we'll be back. 4:40 after the hour on the radio portion of the program right now. I'm listening to Mario Lanza. I was kind of a screwball at Emory in that regard because while I did listen back in those years, in the 60s, I did listen to the Beatles. They were famous, but my singer, the music I listened to at Emory, was that of Mario Lanza. And anyway, that's enough of that. All right, let's get to the calls. Holding on the longest is Alan, calling from Tallahassee, Florida. Good morning, Alan. What do you say?
Good morning, O'Neill. How you doing, buddy?
Good, great.
You were asking about who took you fishing.
Yes, please.
My dad, of course, turned me on to fishing when I was a younger. Probably into pretty much my teenage years. He worked too much when I was real young, and then being a single parent, it was kind of hard. So, but when you said that, something flashed through my brain. It's that when I was in my early 20s, me and him were sitting there in the mouth of the St. Johns River where it goes into the Lake George, and listened to Charlie Pride and Merle Haggard.
Oh boy!
And he pulled out a bottle of Huberlin's Whiskey Sour and poured him a little bit in his cup. And he said, buddy, on the day I pass, I want to be cremated and buried right here in this, right where we're sitting.
Oh, boy.
And at the time, I didn't want to hear it.
Sure.
Let's don't talk about stuff like that. Well, he died a young man at 59.
Yes.
And with all my family at my head trying to tell me we're not going to do that, that's where he was buried.
Good for you. Good for you. You should honor that request.
And it's one of the things that I'll never forget, and that in most enjoyable times, me and him going around the country fishing. We went a lot of places, but he always had Merle Haggard or Charlie Pride playing in the boat. And, it was just one of those things that, a father and son can only experience, a few times because he worked real hard most of his life.
Sure. Well, those kind of things, now see, that's why I tell people, go fishing. Take your son, take your grandson fishing, and you just gave me a great illustration of it will last forever. And I'm glad
it surely will. Go ahead.
I'm saying I'm glad that you related that to us and followed his recommendations, followed his wishes.
Yeah. Well, and also the boys talked a minute ago about the alligator gar. One time when we were fishing down there in middle of Florida, I caught one. And when I first caught it, I thought, well, I got a big old bass. We were fishing with shiners, and it just went dead. And I said, oh, Lord, I've caught a gator or I've hooked into a big old catfish. When I pulled that alligator gar up, it had to be over 5 foot long. And my dad took out his little .22 pistol, shot that thing right in the top of the head. It didn't even phase him. He jerked that line and popped it. And off he went.
There you are.
Now, he probably died later on, but you talking about looking at something that just looks prehistoric. I mean,
absolutely.
That is it,
That absolutely. Hey, great story, Alan.
Holiday.
Yeah. Pardon me. Say again.
What you doing for the holidays?
My wife, Gail, and I.
Labor Day?
Gail and I are going to Florida for a few days with the family.
Well, come on down here. Hey, it's hotter and humid as it can be right now.
I'm going to go and sit on the beach and do nothing. Thanks for calling, Alan.
All right, buddy.
I'll see you soon. There we go. Hey, here's our old buddy, Milton Crabapple. Good morning, Milton.
O'Neill?
Yes, sir.
Milton Crabapple.
Yes, sir. What's going on with you?
How you doing this? You cut off there for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you there?
I'm here.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you keep kind of cutting out on me. I run into Hal Coleman yesterday. He told me you spoke at his Rotary Club.
Yes, I did. Enjoyed it very much. How'd I do?
I didn't know you'd done that kind of thing.
Yeah, I can't
You go
stop
around
talking.
speaking at Rotary clubs and stuff like that?
I do when I'm invited. I do, and I enjoy it very much. I do appreciate invitations to be able to tell people about fishing and outdoors and how they should appreciate it more.
Yeah, he said you had a real interesting talk. I wish I could have been there, and I'd have heard you.
Me too.
Might get you to come up to the Crabapple Rotary Club one of these days.
Count me in. I'll be happy to do that.
You know, this time of year when deer season comes along, sometimes dude takes off a lot of time off to go hunting. I hire some part-time deputies for this time of year.
I see.
I had a fella that I interviewed yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to be a good one, but you know, when you've been in law enforcement as long as I have, you can pick up on things that an ordinary person might not notice.
Certainly.
But this fella come in, we had a long talk. He seemed like a nice fella, and I was wearing my old Colt 45, and I pulled it out and showed it to him. I said, "What do you think of my firearm?" And he looked at it and handled it, and aimed it at the wall over there and everything. But I picked up on something that worried me, and I decided not to offer that guy the job.
Okay, what was that?
When before he handed the pistol back to me, he took his handkerchief out and wiped all his fingerprints off of it.
That may not be a good sign.
Well, I didn't think it was.
Well, he's been involved in law enforcement.
Picked up on something like that.
Yeah, he's been in law enforcement before, maybe on the other side, huh?
Yeah, I reckon it has. I wish I could. You was talking about going into the archives of some of them old shows.
Uh-huh.
I wish I could see some of, my great uncle, he did an outdoor show years and years ago, about crabapple.
Oh, okay.
I wish I could see some of his old shows.
I'll
but,
bet
they
so.
was on a tight budget back then.
Uh-huh.
Said that part of the time when they first started out, they couldn't afford a camera. They just had to hire a sketch artist. But anyhow, after they got to doing pretty good, they got him a camera.
Well, I would bet you that you can visit YouTube and you can see the shows, the turtle grabbling shows that you and I did together.
But we've done some good ones. We need to do another one.
I think so.
We need to just go out one day just for the fun of it. But, there ain't as many turtles as there used to be.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Years and years ago, we used to go out and catch a sack full of them, but now it's like they've all gone somewhere.
Oh.
Either somebody's caught all of them. I don't know. It's hard to find lots of turtles these days like you used to could.
Well, I'll go out there with you, and we'll round us up a few.
Well, that sounds good to me.
Good deal.
You have a good time down there in Florida. You better watch out. There's stuff down there that'll tear you up if you get in that water.
And listen, I appreciate you mentioning the Rotary Club, and I stand ready to speak at any Rotary Club that'll give me a call and give me an opportunity. I appreciate it. Thank you, Milton.
Well, that sounds good.
Thank you, Milton.
I'll be talking at you.
You bet. See you soon, my good friend. 48 after the hour. Let's see who's up next. That would be Donna is calling. Good morning, Donna. I always love to hear your voice.
Aren't you kind? I want Mr. Crabapple to know that I stop and save turtles in the middle of the road wherever I am all the time and bring them back to my land and release them down in the river that goes to Lake Lanier. So we'd make our point when we can. I have a story you may not want to hear, O'Neill.
All right, tell me anyway.
I was 4.5 years old, and my great-grandmother was a fabulous fisherwoman and cook.
Mm-hmm.
And she liked to fish off the pier at Topsail Island in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And she took me fishing. And I was amazed to be told that what comes out of the ocean is what ends up on the plate to eat. I didn't understand that. And she got this little white, goldfishy-looking white little thing. I mean, I'm 70, and I remember this. And she hooked it and threw it in and caught a flounder that I had heretofore always loved to eat. And I was so disturbed by this concept that I have never eaten flounder since.
Oh.
So my advice is to anybody that's taking a little girl to fish, be careful about the cause and effect and explain.
Good idea. Good
you
idea.
do that. But I love to eat seafood now, but it took me a while to get beyond the cute little white fish was the bait. I didn't understand the process. But and the gentleman that told the story about his father's cremation, that's a very touching, beautiful tribute to what you're trying to do in this radio show, and the connections with people. I think that's lovely.
Well, thank you very much.
Have a good weekend.
You
Thanks,
bet.
O'Neill. Be careful with little girls you take fishing.
Okay, I will do that too. All right, it's 50 after the hour. Let's talk to John. John is calling from the Catskill Mountains in New York. Good morning, John.
Yes, good morning from the Catskill Mountains. O'Neill, I talked to you before about calling with just using your mouth, calling game or whatever. Yes, I know there's a great amount of manufactured calls, and they're all good. I've used them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you get caught without one, and there's where it pays off, where if you practice, you can call in. I've called in bucks and many a turkey, even a bear.
Oh, my goodness.
I saw a bear. I wasn't going to kill him. I just wanted to see for the heck of it, and I just started making some weird noises. You say it's not the quality of the call, and it's true. And I actually called that bear in, just imitating it like a distressed animal.
Mm-hmm.
And he come in within 30 yards before he got on to me. But
all right, let me bait you with a question then. What did I say about that? It's not the quality of the call. What is it?
I forgot.
It's the rhythm.
There you go, the rhythm.
It's the rhythm of the call.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Now, I sent you a couple of weeks ago a picture of a little short-tailed weasel I photographed. I actually spent quite a long time with him. I was imitating mouse squeaks because I know he's hunting mice.
Well, you really make this fun, don't you, John?
Oh, yeah. Coyotes and foxes I've called in with mouse squeaks and chipmunk squeaks and such, So I'm just letting folks know. And, of course, if you keep practicing, of course, all your friends would think there's something the matter with it, but that's all right.
Well, you can go to the Internet and hear all those sounds.
Yeah, I did all those sounds before there was Internet, so,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just winged it. Hey, I just want to follow up with Milton about that deputy story. There was a guy in the Catskill Mountains back in the 30s and 40s, Mike Todd. There's a book called The Mike Todd Story.
Uh-huh.
He was on the other side of the law with game and such,
Mm-hmm.
He used to do bear trapping when it was legal and stuff.
Okay.
And actually, New York State hired him as a game warden and a fire tower observer.
How about that? That's a great story.
Yep.
Great story.
It's
and
a book called The Mike Todd Story.
The Mike Todd Stories. I'll give that a look. We're going on vacation for a few days. I'll order that. John, thank you for calling. I'm up against a break. I got to go, pal. You have a good weekend. This is O'Neill, and we'll be back. Well, welcome back, everyone. A couple of true turn tackle tips before we finish up the first hour of the program. We will be back for a second hour, of course, after the news. And I want to know who took you fishing when you were a child. But right now, the True Turn tackle tip. True Turn is the longest-running sponsor of O'Neill Outside Television, and I'm awfully proud about that. And there was a fellow by the name of TJ Stallings, was with True Turn. He's not with us any longer, but he had great fishing tips. And here's one. If you're in a stream and you're using a spinning reel, especially if you're a youngster, and your line gets tangled or twisted, okay, it can be a real pain. If you'll take off the terminal tackle, take off the weight, take off the jig, take off the float. In other words, strip the line of the terminal tackle and let the line drift downstream into the current. It will take the twist out of the line. Same thing if you're in a boat, you're fishing and your line gets twisted. Then if you'll take off the terminal tackle and let it drift behind the boat the next time you crank up to go to another place, It will take all of the twist out of the line. Just little things like that that can make the fishing day much, much easier. If you'd like to call in the second hour of the program, the telephone numbers are 404-872-0750 or outside the Atlanta calling area, 800-972-8255. Last week, we had calls from New York and Maine, Austin, Texas, Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, Florida, Alabama, and we'd love to hear from you today because this is the #1 live outdoor-based radio talk show in the country, and it's because of your calls and our relationship and enjoying fishing stories. That's what I did at the Rotary Club this week. I told fishing stories and how they can apply to us. This is O'Neill. Another hour of outdoors headed your way. You stay right there. I'll be back.
O'Neill Outside Radio is brought to you by these fine sponsors. CVA muzzleloaders, it's just a better gun. Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. WORX Power and Garden Tools. Toyota, let's go places. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Swaggerty Sausage, the finest premium pork sausage products. Tough Shed, great storage sheds and custom buildings.
Timbuktu Outdoors, the ideal solution to live bait.
Arctic Ice, the most durable, versatile, and effective cooler packs for the outdoorsman. Burminator, the best food plot implements on Earth. And the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, state parks, and historic sites.
From Black Powder headquarters in the Bojangles studio from Three Falls Cabin in the North Georgia Mountains, O'Neill Outside presents CVA Radio. For anything in the outdoors, this is your source. Listen in and call the show with your comments or questions. And now, here's O'Neill.
Well, at 5:06, this is O'Neill Outside with CVA Radio. Another hour of outdoors headed your way, and we hope that you'll join us. We've had great fun finding out who took you fishing when you were a child. Who was the guy the man, the woman, the grandfather, the grandmother that got you started fishing? And we've heard some great stories and some very touching ones, and we ask you to telephone and tell us those things. We got calls from New York this morning, from Texas, from Florida, and we hope you take the time to call. The telephone numbers are 404-872-0750 in the Atlanta, Georgia area, and outside of Atlanta, and on the Sports Map Sports Radio Network, I always say that wrong, and WSB as it winds its way around the eastern United States. The telephone number there for you to reach us is 800-972-8255, 800-972-8255. It's my pleasure to tell you that this program is brought to you every Saturday morning by CVA Muzzleloaders, Arctic Ice, Tough Shed, The Furminator, Timbuktu Outdoors, WORX Tools, Stripling's General Store, Snellville Heating and Air, Rocco's Pub, I love that place, Ritter Critter. There's no other animals that live in our house. There's no bats, no squirrels, no rats, no nothing. And Mark Hurd Fuel. They keep us warm because they supply all the propane for our home. It's 8 after the hour, and we've got a lot of calls. When we return from this, among the calls, we will have the radio prize package. Ooh, time to win something. And I'm urging you to visit YouTube and O'Neill Outside. Subscribe and like a page, and we've got 110 items that we will choose from in the month of October to give away to those people who subscribe and like over and over and over again. To increase your chances to win boots and gear and leaf blowers, just lots of stuff. This is O'Neill. The calls when we return.
With That's it. I'm going fishing in Wyoming on the lakes, the glacier lakes.
Oh, boy. Now, what?
We've got a canoe. I'm going to use regular spinning gear that I've learned to use here.
Mm-hmm.
I need bait. Out there, you can't buy bait.
No.
In fact, if you show up with worms, you might get shot. So I gotta bring it from here. And I heard you talking about fisher's bait. What I'm looking for is something like a grasshopper or a cricket that'll float on the surface. I'll use a float as the weight on my spinning gear to, cast. The idea is to get something that'll float on the surface and will sit off from where the creeks and the stream comes into the lake. And I'm fishing for Mackinaw trout or lake trout.
Okay.
Can you recommend anything?
Yes. Go to Walmart or Bass Pro Shop and buy Fisher's Choice baits. And you will buy cans of crickets that have been preserved. They're soft. They're injected with scent. And they're just like fresh crickets, and you're just going to slay the fish.
Right, and those will float, right?
Yes, absolutely. Well, they'll float as much as according to what the size of the hook is, but yes, they will float. Yes, absolutely.
All right, then that begs the question, what size of hook?
Tiny. And do this, you'll do better if you'll flatten the barb on the hook.
Okay.
You'll catch more fish.
Pliers, you mean just squeeze it?
Just flatten it, that's right. Just take you some needle nose and flatten the barb.
Okay.
Hey,
right,
you got to.
What did you say the size? What did you say the size was?
Tiny, a number 6, a number 8, something like that. You're not going to catch 50-pounders. So that's really good. Now you owe me a call back and let me know how you do.
All right. If I want to talk about it, I'll call you back.
Oh. No, that's not fair. You have to call me back no matter what.
All right.
Thank you, sir, for calling. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You bet.
All right.
Good luck to you. Now let's talk. Who's coming up here? Hey, here's our old friend Mac. What do you say? What's going on with you today?
O'Neill. How you doing?
Good. What's going on with you today in this hot sun?
Well, first off, that was a great comment the last caller had. If I want to talk about it, I'll call back.
That's right.
I got a good chuckle out of that. So good luck to him.
Yes.
Yeah, man, it's time to go fishing. I know it's hot, but fishing's been good on the near, but it's a little bit, I really got to warn people, it's a little bit different. I think the lake's already turning over, and we're fishing like we would fish in September, late September.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of fish in relative to calendar, shallow water, 30 feet. Really, and I'm talking about the stripers now, really good umbrella bite, pulling an umbrella over humps or points or just contour trolling. And be prepared. You may or may not, but there's a good likelihood you'll see some schooling fish. And you know how our stripers are. If you see them, you don't have time to get in your tackle box and pull something out and tie it on.
Correct.
It's just, you're done by then. So have something tied on. And I would actually suggest a spoon or a mini Mac. I know everybody wants to throw a topwater at a schooling fish, and it's fun. I understand why. But a lot of times the spoons or the minis cast better, and your percentage of strikes to hookups will be higher. So,
they can bite that bait better than they can bite a top water bait.
Absolutely.
They'll get it. They blow up a top water bait and knock it up in the air.
Which is remarkably fun to witness. So you got, the fun factor is pretty high there, no doubt, but the catch factor might be a little higher. And
Absolutely.
Something that's small and compact like a spoon, you can cast it further because they have a really nasty habit of being about 10 feet further than you can cast.
Yeah, absolutely. Light line, long cast, and be ready, right?
Be ready, be looking for them because the opportunity, sometimes they're relaxed and they'll stay on top a little while, but sometimes they're not relaxed and they're up and down. And if you don't get a bait to them pretty quick, you'll miss that window of opportunity. But it's happening enough to be prepared for.
That's a great tip today, Mac. So if you got some open days in fall, you need to take a few folks.
We got some days after the middle of the month, absolutely, and it looks like it's going to cool down. It's been hot out there. It really has been hot. Fishing's been good, so when the rods are bending, you don't notice the heat as much.
No, not at all. All right, tell everybody how to find you.
You can find us at CaptainMax.com 24/7. That's CaptMacks, or you can call us at 770-235-8135.
A great day fishing at Lake Lanier with Captain Mack. He's
Absolutely.
Once he gets some experience, he's going to be good at this.
Yep, I just need a few more years under my belt.
That's right. How long have you been a guide at Lanier?
We're going to knock out 40 years this year.
We're getting old, Mac.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. All right, my good friend. Good luck to you today.
Thank you, everybody. Be safe on the water, but get out and enjoy the outdoors this weekend.
You bet. Thank you so much. You betcha. All right, now let's talk to Harley. He's calling O'Neill outside. Good morning, Harley.
Good morning. How are you?
Lovely. Where are you headed this morning?
I'm heading up to Rayburn County, Wildcat Creek, to go trout fishing.
Oh, wonderful. Who's taking you?
My great uncle.
Wonderful. Have you been to this place before?
Yes, sir. I went last year, and then the road washed out, and they closed it, but the National Forest Service fixed it, we think. So I'm going to go up there and try it.
I'll bet you catch them today. What do you think?
I hope so.
Now, take lots of pictures now, and you have to call me back in the next couple of weeks and let me know how many fish you caught and how big they were.
I will.
You promise?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I bet you have a great day today, Harley.
I'm going to hope to.
I hope so, too. I guarantee it. Whether you catch 1 or 20, it'll be a great day.
Yes, sir.
You be safe and stay in touch. I love to hear your voice.
You too.
You bet. Have a wonderful trip. There we go. Let's see. It's 20 after. I'll get to you in just a minute. What I want to do now, I've got time to send the radio prize package. The prize packages consist of Bojangles gift card, Swaggerty's gift card, DNR hat, Realtree hat, Big Green Egg koozie kit, Arctic ice packs, Angler magazine, Georgia State Parks guide, a can of Fisher's Choice baits, a selection of True Turn tackle, a Hydro Shot glass, and it's a great little prize package. You have to be 18 years old at minimum to win the prize package, and you cannot have won, and we keep records, you cannot have won a prize package in the last year, okay? It's all free. There's no offers in there for email addresses or anything. It's just good stuff from sponsors that are good people. And here is your question. For about 20 years on radio, here on this radio program, Woman Williams joined me on most of the shows, and she had a bit there called Woman Williams and Her Words of Wisdom. What the question is for the radio prize package, what was the name of the automobile dealership that sponsored her show or her segment in the program? Who sponsored Woman Williams and Her Words of Wisdom? Call the radio show right now, and if you win, we'll send you the radio prize package. We'll be back. 25 after the hour, this is O'Neill Outside. The telephone numbers are 404-872-0750 in the Atlanta area. And outside and across the country, it's 800-972-8255. You can listen across the eastern part of the United States and across the south, of course, at 95.5 FM and 750 on your dial AM. Both of those are WSB. And you can listen on the Sports Map Radio Network. I don't know how many hundred stations, but wherever you are, on the weekend broadcast, you'll hear O'Neill Outside, and we welcome your participation in the program. Before we get to the answer for our radio prize package, let's talk to Black. He's been holding on quite a while. Good morning, my good friend.
How you doing, O'Neill?
I'm doing good. You get your book and your hat?
No, sir.
Somebody must be stealing them off your front porch.
It could be.
Because
listen, number one, where would be the closest CVA dealership to me? I'm in Jackson.
Well, I would naturally say Bass Pro Shop, but I'm sure that there's some sport. I don't know of a sporting goods dealer down in Jackson offhand.
Okay.
But
okay, number two, would Stripling's be open due to this virus?
Oh man, yeah, they are.
Are you sure now? Because I went by there not too long ago and it wasn't a car there.
Well, you must have been there on Sunday night. No, they're open. No, they're open, and I was there this week, and they are jammed with.
Okay.
Yeah, they got.
Okay.
I tell you what, you should do, please. Shop in that fresh meat counter.
Oh, I will.
Oh boy, there's a difference. There's a difference between steaks and hamburgers and chopped steaks that you get from Stripling's than going to the local grocery store. Okay.
My dad took me fishing back when I was probably back in about, I'd say, 49.
I'll be darned.
1949.
How about that?
Boy, we caught some cats you wouldn't believe.
Oh, I'll bet. Where did you go? Do you remember?
Yes, sir. Beaver Dam Creek, Elbert County.
Oh, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, and the last question, when are you going to take me fishing?
Soon.
Come on now. I met you up yonder that time, and you've been promising me. Listen, okay, Mac.
Yes.
What was his number again? I want to get on his tour. I mean, go fishing with him. Was it 235?
Let's see.
770-235. Was it 3135?
Okay, hold on. I'll get it for you. I'll get it off my telephone right here.
Okay.
You stay right there. I'll get Mac right here. I know it's 770-271.
Okay.
It's 770-271-0851.
0851.
Right. MacFar.
Okay.
Well, it'll be a fantastic day.
Well, O'Neill, have a good Labor Day. Are you going to labor or are you going to
No, I'm going.
sleep?
Leaving Monday morning. Gail and I are going to go to Florida for a couple of days.
How's Travis doing?
He's doing great. Works 7 days a week. I know I got a video from him yesterday morning. The sun was just rising over the mountains in Oklahoma, and he was already out on his horse wrangling cattle.
I'd love to go out there and get with him.
Yes, indeed. He loves it.
Can I still answer that question?
No, you can't.
You
can't because you've already won a prize package.
No, I have not.
You hadn't. Well, the rule is
I've never won a prize package.
Well, the rule is if you're already on the line, you can't win. You have to have a fresh call. I'm sorry, Black. You'll have to do it next time.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Well, you were already on the line. You were already in the lineup before I asked the question.
I got you. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. I'm still waiting to go fishing.
Okay.
Listen, last question.
Go.
I'm hunting for a good used tractor.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, I know you know some people up in there that's got tractors.
Well, there's some great tractor companies around.
I don't want to buy no new one.
Well, I tell you what, there's been a huge run on tractors because people are staying home and they're doing their own food plots and their own lawns and their own landscaping, so there are no used tractors. They're all gone.
Okay.
I'm not helping you out at all this morning, am I?
Everything's negative.
Yeah.
I tell you, O'Neill, I can't skin that head because it's already skinned.
It's already gone.
You remember when I kissed you on your head?
Oh God, yes. It's a fond memory.
Okay, O'Neill. Boy, hey, have you got Oh yeah, I got that swagger sausage. Can't be beat.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
Man, it's good, but it's high, but it's worth it.
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, I'm still looking for you to take me on a trip.
I'm good. Yeah, keep looking.
I'm gonna hold you to it. Every time I call you, I'm gonna hound you about it.
Thanks for calling, Black.
Tell Gail hello.
I will do that too. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
There you are. Okay, the radio prize package, 31 after the hour. The question was, for 20 years, the sponsor of Gail's portion of the show, which was Words of Wisdom from Woman Williams. And let's talk to Gary. He's calling from Monroe, Georgia. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning. How are you?
Just fine. Who was the sponsor for 20 years for that portion of the radio show?
That would be Chrysler Dodge.
You got it. Hayes. They were a fine sponsor of the program, and we were proud to have them for such a long time. And you give us a couple of weeks now, but we'll get you the radio prize package.
All right, O'Neill. I sure appreciate it.
Good deal. Thanks for calling, sir. I appreciate your participation in the show. And here, before we go to the next break, here's Paul calling from Brookhaven. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning. I haven't talked to you in, I guess it's been about a week now.
A week now. It happens every Saturday morning.
Story. I couldn't hold it in. I had to share a camping story with you. Man, I know you'd appreciate this.
Okay.
There were three of us. It was me, Justin, and David. We were all walking along, and David picked up a frog and handed it to me. I played with it and handed the frog back to David. And then David handed the frog to Justin, and that frog just couldn't hold it in any longer. And that frog just, I'll just say this, excused himself all over Justin's hand. We did not let Justin have an ounce of slack after that. We started calling him Frog after that.
Frogs are known for not being polite.
Anything related to frogs. I'm sure Justin got so sick of us.
I'll bet so. Have you got frogs around the house now?
Can you imagine?
Paul, do you have frogs around the house now? Do you hear them in the evenings?
No, I don't. But I thought of that story, and I thought, O'Neill's got to hear this.
Oh, that's a good one.
No, we don't have any frogs around here. I live in a 5-story building, so we don't have much in the way of critters.
Well, we've got them up here, and we certainly do enjoy hearing them. I've got a bullfrog out here in the little pond in front of the house, and we have, I think it's a Gray's tree frog. I think it's a gray tree frog, and he's about the size of your thumb, and he is really vocal. I mean, he really sounds off. But, of course, I live up here in the mountains, and it's not, it's daily about sunset that I'll go outside, and I can hear the Gray's tree frogs, I can hear the bullfrogs, and I can hear literally dozens of barred owl calls. One will begin, and another one will answer, and another one will answer. And in the springtime, they call, and they have a call that's generally referred to as a cackle. It's a mating call from the barred owl. And it's called a cackle, and it's who cooks, who cooks for you? That's the call. Interesting, isn't it?
My dad took the dang bottom off a bug zapper and just left it hanging. And back when I wasn't too long after I graduated high school, we had this frog who would sit under that. I'm not kidding.
Oh yeah, he was
that bug zapper and eat the fried bugs as they came out of it.
That was an attractant for him, that's for sure.
Mom started to back the van out of. She used to tell this story for years. I'm not kidding. Mom would start to back the van out of the driveway.
I'm sorry.
She was getting ready to go to work.
Okay, Paul, I gotta go. I'm up against the break. I gotta go. I'm sorry. I'll put you back on hold. This is O'Neill. We'll be back. 40 minutes after the hour. We've been holding on so long, waiting for this, and here he is, Hank the Yank. What do you say, my good friend?
Hey, buddy. How are you today?
Outstanding.
Well,
I said I got 2 hours sleep. I feel great.
Well, good for you. Listen, before we start what I'm going to tell you about, I just want you to know that we lost a family member a couple days ago, and everybody out there who loves the outdoors needs to know about Captain Stan Elrod, who was the Gainesville, Georgia, he was a captain and one of the supervisors for the Georgia DNR, who was killed by a driver the other night, and that affects obviously everybody in the outdoors. And he was when I always used to talk to you about the trout god of Atlanta, he was a very dear friend of the trout god of Atlanta. So we lost a wonderful individual, and I just want to let everyone know our hearts and sympathies go out to Captain Elrod and his family. So
it was an automobile accident.
Yeah, he was on duty, and a driver crossed the road and killed him. And this guy's going to go to jail for vehicular homicide more than likely. So anyway, just terrible. So our heart goes out to all his family, and especially his friends as well, who are all our friends. So anyway, that's the sad news. On an up note, I did have good carp fishing yesterday. I went carp fishing, and we went down to the Chattahoochee, and we bagged 5 carp on the fly. We hooked yesterday, which is pretty darn fantastic. You know, if you catch one, you've had a good day. If you catch 2, you had a great day. We actually hooked 5 yesterday in 3 hours of fishing. So the carp fishing was outstanding on the fly rod.
Good.
But O'Neill, what I really wanted to talk to you about really quickly, people always call me and ask me, so, you know, you're friends with O'Neill. What's he really like off the radio? And I said, you know, O'Neill and I talk quite a bit. We don't talk every week, but we talk a lot. And I said, one way or another, our conversations always end up talking about baseball. A lot of what you and I talk about is baseball off the record, because we're huge fans of the game. So with that, I told him, I said, well, you know, I think that you and I, and you with the love of nicknames, we talked about nicknames a few weeks ago. So where else do you have a better nickname than in baseball?
Oh,
right?
It
Baseball
permeates the
players have
game.
Nicknames. That's one of the sports that makes it so much fun, is the players have nicknames. So here we go. So what I'm going to start doing now is calling you up, and before I give you my report on fishing, I'm going to give you a baseball player and ask you to give us his nickname. And by the way, we are not talking about it off the air beforehand. So you're going to have to. So like this week we were talking about the passing of Tom Seaver, and I said, do you remember his nickname? And you said, of course I do. You said it was Tom Terrific. I said, that's right.
Correct.
So here we go for this week's nickname, and the first one. You ready? This is not going to be an easy one. I know you want me to give you an easy one, but I'm not, because I want everybody to know how really into baseball you are. So here we go. You ready?
Ready.
Ted Williams.
The Kid.
The Kid. That was one of his nicknames.
Yes, the Kid.
That was one of his nicknames. He had 2 nicknames, by the way. Did you know that?
I don't know what the second one would be. I'm sorry.
The Splendid Splinter.
Oh, the Splendid Splinter. Yes.
All right.
You're right. When he came into the league, and the reason he was called that When he came into the league his first year with Boston, he was 6'3" tall and weighed 142 pounds.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that's how he got his nickname.
Yes, the Splendid Splinter. He was
Yep,
quite
they called him
thin.
The Kid. Yep, but he was also known as the Kid. He's one of two baseball. I think there was two players that had, and I can't remember. I'll try and remember who the other one was. He had two nicknames. So you're right, it's the Splendid Splinter and the Kid. That's what he was known as.
Oh, that's good.
So what was the name of that book you told me I need to read? I forgot to write that down. Remember you told me the name of a baseball book?
Oh,
the
it's
rules?
The Unbroken Codes of Baseball.
That's it. The Unbroken. I've got that.
Or just plain The Codes of Baseball. One of
the Codes of Baseball. Okay, I'm going to order that off Amazon because that sounded fascinating.
Oh, it's written by a sports writer, and you will find out so many things about baseball that you didn't know that will give you a terrific understanding of what goes on the field. And that's a great conversation piece.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that read. All right, buddy. Well, listen, the Kid, good one. So far you're 1 for 1.
Okay.
Well, look, you have a good weekend, and
you too.
Stay safe this weekend.
I will. Tell me, what's your next great fishing trip?
My next great fishing trip. I'm going to be going to this little place on tomorrow morning. It's called the Chattahoochee River. I'm getting in a float. I'm getting in the float tube with a fly rod, and I'm going trout fishing tomorrow morning to avoid people. You can you can only put one in a float tube, so that's my way of social distancing.
All right. Without a discussion, however, tell me, when you were a child, a little kid playing baseball in Brooklyn, what was your nickname?
I was, I was West Bank Hank. The only Jewish kid on my team. So I was West Bank Hank.
That's fabulous.
Isn't that great?
That's great. All right, my good friend, you have a good weekend, pal.
Hey, for someone who batted .567, did you have a nickname?
Yeah, but I'm not going to tell you what it was.
All right, you have a great weekend.
See you later. There you go. All right, now let's chat. Before we get to something else, let's talk to George calling from Buckhead. Good morning, George.
Good morning. How you doing?
Lovely.
Lovely. Good. I was just going to tell you that my dad, he used to take me fishing when I was little. He loved to fish, and we went into the store to get some fishing food, and the guy asked us what we're fishing for, and my dad just looked at him and said, fish. We would catch anything we could catch because we like to eat fish.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then my dad would always say, he goes, you know why I fish? And I said, no, sir. And he said, because we like to eat fish.
There you go.
My mom used to cook us up some good meals.
Oh, boy.
From fish caught out of them ponds. And I got a smile on my face today. I can't get it off. Found out that I'm a granddaddy again.
Oh, lovely.
Had another little granddaughter born last night, and I'm not even going to go to the dove field today. I'm going to go see my new granddaughter.
Well, there you go, and you can you'll have a new fishing partner in about 5 years.
That's right. I'm going to take the big sister, and she's going to go meet her new little sister.
Wonderful. Congratulations. What a great weekend.
Yep. If you going down to Florida, is your old outlaw son-in-law going to be there?
Yes, both of them.
Well, you tell Mr. Tim that George said hey.
I will do that too. See you soon, pal.
You have a good one.
You too. There you go. Now let's devote some time for the Medal of Honor tribute.
Honor, courage, and strength of character. These qualities are embodied by the recipients of the Medal of Honor. Now let's recognize this week's Medal of Honor recipient on O'Neill Outside.
Harold C. Adgerholm, Private First Class, World War II. He's a Marine, Saipan in the Marianas Islands. When the enemy launched a fierce, determined counterattack against his position and overran a neighboring artillery battalion, Harold immediately volunteered to assist in the efforts to check the attack and evacuate the wounded. Locating an abandoned ambulance jeep, he repeatedly made perilous trips under heavy rifle and mortar fire and single-handedly loaded and evacuated 45 casualties. Working tirelessly and with utter disregard for his own personal safety during a grueling period of more than 3 hours, despite intense, persistent enemy fire, he finally ran out to aid 2 men he believed to be wounded Marines, but was himself mortally wounded by a Japanese sniper while carrying out the mission. Harold's brilliant initiative, great personal valor, and self-sacrificing efforts in the face of almost certain death reflect the highest credit upon him and the U.S. Naval Service. He gallantly gave his life for his country. Private First Class Harold C. Adgerholm died that day. He was 19 years old. Now that is a hero. He didn't play in the NFL or the NBA, but that is a hero. 50 minutes after the hour, this is O'Neill Outside, 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. It's my pleasure and distinct privilege to read to you the descriptions of the Medal of Honor, and I would tell you where I find those, and you can also if you'll visit O'Neill Outside. Right in the middle of the home page, you can find out all about our YouTube promotion, and you'll notice a Medal of Honor's insignia on the home page. You click on that, and you can read the descriptions of all those men and women who, in most cases, gave their lives and sacrificed themselves for their fellow soldiers, Marine, Navy, Army, Coast Guard, you name it. They are inspirational stories and stories of true heroes. No one that knelt on the sideline or refused to play in a basketball game. And if I'm voicing to you my feelings of disgust for that, and I try not to be political on this program, I pledge I'm not, but sometimes I just can't help it. If I owned a team, NBA, NFL, baseball, if I were a rich man and you did not stand for the national anthem, that would be the last day you would be under my employ. You would never, ever play for me again. So, enough of that. Here's a question I've been meaning to get to because it's fun. Deer season's coming up, so I direct the following. Do deer sleep? The more you know, the more you understand, the more you would enjoy fishing, hunting, and outdoors. Do deer sleep? Anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds, maybe 30 minutes. He often sleeps with his eyes open and always with his ears at attention and listening for sound. So, I offer the following. Can you sneak up on a deer? Absolutely not. I'll be back in a minute. Before we close out the program today, I want to thank everyone for taking the time to call, sharing the information, their stories. I do enjoy so much hearing about someone whose dad took them fishing or dad took them hunting. So let me close out today with a couple of tips, if you will, at random. Most of the ones are, well, all of the ones I learned from somebody else. I don't invent these things. But here's a couple of random things that you might keep in mind that'll make a fishing trip a little bit easier, a little bit better, make a hunting trip a little bit different, okay? Number one, when squirrel season is open, you can go squirrel hunting. You can take a son or grandson or a kid down the street, use a 410 single shot. You can tell that the gun is about to be shot because you have to pull back the hammer. Makes it a little bit safer. But when you go squirrel hunting, be quiet. The squirrels are there. Stop, sit at the base of a tree, and be quiet. And they'll suddenly be, the trees will be full of them. I say you use a 410 because a kid is going to be much more accurate, much more productive, and it's so much more enjoyable than deer hunting. Deer hunting, quite frankly, for a child, is a great big huge bore. How many times in a year would a 6-year-old have shots? 2, 3, 4 times? Well, on a good squirrel hunting trip, he'll have 50 shots, should he choose to take them. Secondly, your fishing line, whether it's on a free spool bait casting reel or a spinning reel, there's a product called Reel Magic. Buy a can of it. It'll last you for years. And spray the line. Spray your mono on your reel with Reel Magic. It will relax the line and make that fishing trip so much more enjoyable and easy, especially for a youngster. Okay, we're all done. Keep this in mind. If you're too busy to go fishing and take a child along, you're entirely too busy. I'll see you guys next week.
I once asked a mighty hunter, coming home from the field, how he came to possess such mighty hunting and fishing skill. He said, "I'll tell you a secret, son. I learned everything I know from listening to O'Neill Outside on my radio."